So I want to start off by saying welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, welcome. If you're a fanatic of everything entertainment, then this is the channel for you. But in today's video, I'll be doing a 4K Blu-ray review of Bill and Ted's Most Triumphant Trilogy. So let's get into it. Now, I knew whenever this was announced, I had to get it. The first film has been on 4K for a little while now. I don't know, probably about 2 or 3 years at minimum. And as far as I knew, Bogus Journey was only on Blu-ray, and so was Face the Music, except some country, I don't remember, but some other country that is not mine had the 4K. So, I was waiting for 2 and 3 to be on 4K, and then when they announced this box set, I'm like, I have to get it. This is a big cardboard box with all 3 movies in here. And I prefer getting this over, the individual releases because each film is $35 on Shout Factory's website, which adds up to like $105. I think it's a smarter idea to get this for $90 instead. Speaking of this box set, this looks amazing. I love the way this looks. It is this big cardboard box. Scream Factory used it for their Halloween films, which I own Halloween 2 now. And yeah, this looks really good. I love the way this looks. And then right here, you can see it has all 3 films in here. And on the back, you got, from Bogus Journey and a little bit of everything mixed in because you have Death, you have Satan himself, you got Napoleon, and other characters from the first film as well. And then there's the spine. I think it looks really cool as well. But like I said, it is all 3 films, but they are individual releases because we do have Excellent Adventure, Bogus Journey, and Face the Music. Now, before I talk about the audio and video of this release, or these releases, I just want to talk about the films themselves and do a ranking because, I might as well since, we're talking Bill and Ted. So, my experience with Bill and Ted is back in 10th grade, I had this history teacher, and he played a clip from the first film, where they go back and kidnap Socrates, or Socrates, as they like to call him. And he showed some other clips of the movie as well, and I'm like, this shit is really goofy, it might be up my alley. And then I'm a guess like a few months later, I went to a certain GameStop back in the day that sold movies. They don't sell movies anymore, even though GameStop is starting to sell movies again, so that's really weird. But anyways, I went to that GameStop and I saw they had Bill and Ted 1 and 2 on DVD, or at least the first film. And I wanted to get it, but I was like, I'm here for games. This was back when I had a big gaming addiction. So I didn't buy it, but I really wanted to. And then back in 2020, we had Face the Music come out. And my mom gave me the DVD of the first 2 films because it was a double pack. And she was like, I like them, but they're not really my thing. Maybe you'll like them. So I watched both films leading up to Face the Music, and then I watched Face the Music, on VOD because back in 2020, not many people were going to, the theater to go see movies. And I really wanted to, but I decided not to because I work in the healthcare field, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to risk anything right now. Regardless of whatever your thoughts on COVID is, I work in the healthcare field, so I didn't want to get any residents sick or any, I didn't want to be that guy. So I watched all 3 of them, and I had a blast with each one. Like, they're not great movies, but they are great feel-good films. That's what I was talking to my wife about last night. I'm like, these films aren't entirely great, but they are feel-good films, and I feel as if, Face the Music was the movie that people needed back in 2020. Just a really good, fun, feel-good film. We didn't entirely get that throughout 2020. They do have their flaws and goofiness to them, but I think that's also what, people love about Bill and Ted is the goofiness and the camaraderie between, Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves as Bill and Ted. And then you bring in Death into the mix in the second film. All 3 of them have great chemistry. Each film has their moments, and, I think they all are on par with each other, which is very consistent. There's a lot of franchises that are not that consistent, but Bill and Ted is one of them. And, I just wish that, we get a 4th one sometime. I hope it doesn't take 30 years, because by then, they're going to be in their 80s. So that will be crazy to think about, So, my main issue with these movies, is some of the goofiness. Some of the jokes in here don't entirely land. Sometimes the story isn't the best. But I feel as if each movie ends sort of abruptly. You have a commentator that says certain things about the Wild Stallions, just about what they did. I'm like, I would have loved to have seen that. Each film just sort of ends abruptly, but I do feel as if each film gets better with their ending. I in the first film, the ending was a bit boring whenever they did the speech at school. I liked it the first time I saw it, but upon rewatch, I was like, yeah, this does drag a little bit. And then it got a little bit better in Bogus Journey, where they had a little bit fun at the concert, and then they had another concert in Face the Music, which I think was a lot better. But I like that each ending got better with each film, which I thought was really cool. But let's get into my ranking really quickly. This might be a controversial take, but I'm going to have Excellent Adventure at number 3, which is the first film in the franchise, released in 1989, if I'm not mistaken. Which, either way, I'm not downing on this movie, because even my least favorite, Excellent Adventure coming in at number 3, is still like a 78% for me. It does have its flaws for sure. Like I said, the ending sort of does really drag for me, but I do love the journey instead of the destination with this film, if that makes any bit of sense. Like, I love the adventure that they go on, and then once it gets to the destination and their report, not entirely my thing, but everything leading up to that was just a really fun time, and I'm glad that this became a franchise, because Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves have great chemistry. So coming in at number 2, we have the new kid on the block, 2020's Face the Music. I think that this movie was a great return to form, because the first film has a time travel aspect, the second one not so much, but then this one sort of rounds out Bogus Journey and Excellent Adventure, which I thought was really cool. So this one brings a lot to the table. It mixes both films together, and I thought that was really fun. And like I said before, this was the film that we needed back in 2020 with all that going on, everyone depressed, everyone inside. Like, this was the movie we needed, a feel-good film, and it still feels that way. 4 years later, I still had a lot of fun with this one, which I give this one like an 80%. I prefer this one slightly over the first, but I think it's just that feeling to me, as to why I put it in number 2, because I just had a lot of fun with it the first time I saw it, and it helped me out of my it helped me out of my slump that I was in. And upon rewatch last night, I had a lot of fun with it as well. And even 30 years later, they still have great chemistry, which is weird, but you can tell they're older because their voices are a bit different, but they still got it. Even the whoa, like those guys and everything they do in here. I hope we get a fourth film. If we don't, I'm okay with this one being the ending. But either way, my only complaint with this one as well is the ending just ends abruptly. Like, the commentator tells us what happened in here. But I love the homage to George Carlin in here. You have a hologram of him, and I just thought it was done respectfully, because, George Carlin was the backbone of these films. So coming in at number 1 is Bogus Journey. I know that this is one that people like the least, but this one is more my style. I love how weird and goofy it is. It is like the outlier in the trilogy for sure, but it's my type of film, with how goofy it is and the subject material that they throw in there. I think it's a lot of fun. And then the introduction of Death in here, played by William Sadler. He is my favorite character out of all these films. Like Bill and Ted, Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter, they're great, but Death is like the cherry on top. Death is my favorite character in these films, and he has some of the best comedy in here, and he's great in Face the Music as well, even though he's not in it as much as I would love for him to be. But either way, he's great in both of these films, and he's the reason why I put, Bogus Journey at number 1, because of Death. Death is my favorite character in here. But yeah, this movie and Shawshank Redemption made me a fan of William Sadler. When I saw him in The Mist, I was like, yeah, I don't like this character, so therefore I don't like this actor, which is really weird. But saw him in Shawshank Redemption and then, in Bogus Journey, and William Sadler is one of my favorite actors. So yeah, Death is the main reason why I put it at number 1. But like I said, I love the subject material. I love how dark this film gets, which it doesn't really have that time travel aspect, which I wish it did, because that was like what people remember from the first film. And then this one has a very small amount of George Carlin in here. George Carlin is the backbone of these films, and I hate that he's only in the beginning and the ending, which I wish we could have got him a little bit sprinkled in here and there. But either way, this one's still my favorite in the franchise, which is why I give this film like an 82%, because even though with how goofy it is, I'm still a fan of it. So with that said, let's get into the audio and video with these releases. So with Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and then Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, these were shot on film, 35mm, and you can tell it has that really filmic look, which I don't have any negatives with it except for the CGI moments in here, which very, very early CGI and blue screen, green screen effects in here. Really noticeable. I remember when I first watched Beetlejuice and I saw those blue screen or green screen effects, I was like, oh, now I see why people are not a fan of blue screen and green screen. But it's really noticeable in here. It has an outline of like all the objects used and, you know, whenever the characters are on screen. But other than that, I have no issue with these releases because they look great. If you're a fan of grain, it is a very normal layer of grain. It's not too heavy, it's not too light, it looks just right, you know. It looks damn near perfect in my opinion, you know. The daytime scenes in here in both of these films are great. The scenes in Bogus Journey and Hell don't really hold up, like the red, but like I said, a lot of that was blue screen, green screen, CGI effects. But other than that, like, I don't have no complaints with either of these releases. These are ones that if you're a fan of Bill and Ted and you are able to play 4K, I definitely recommend these titles because they do look great. I am a fan of the Bill and Ted films, so like I had to get it. Like I said, it was one of my most anticipated releases of the year, and I had to get it. You know, I pre-ordered it. Came a few days early. That's why you're seeing this video a few days early. So, yeah, I love the way that these films look. Very filmic, not too grainy. Great layer of grain, and the daytime scenes in both these films are amazing. I can't get over these two films on 4K. So let's talk about Face the Music on 4K. This one was shot digitally, I'm pretty sure. More than sure about that. Yeah, this wasn't shot on film, and you can tell because it has that very digital look to it because it was shot digitally. And I'm not sure if this is entirely an upscale or it's a natural 4K picture. But it is a modern film, so it does look a lot more clean, you know, than the other two films, but I still prefer the way the first two films look. But this isn't, you know, I'm not knocking on this because this looks great as well, you know, and there's a few green screen scenes in here which are very noticeable, which you can tell the CGI got a bit better. And then you can actually see the detail during this scene when they visit their prison cells. You could see the prosthetics used, and the sweat on there looked really good. Like you notice a lot more things in here, and I just think it was a fun time. I think this is a fun movie as well, and it looks good, even though it has that more, you know, newer look to it. I still think it looks really good. But as for the audio, like I've said before, which I hate to say that, I listen to everything through my TV speakers because I don't have a soundbar, I don't have a setup, unfortunately, and I won't for a while, unfortunately, because I would love to. Out of 100, I usually put my volume to like a 50 or 60. All three of these films did it justice because I believe, don't hold me to it, but they do have, the first film has a DTS 5.1, so does the second film, and so does the third film. They have the 5.1 and they have a 2.0 stereo as well. So they sounded good in my opinion. Like I could hear everything clearly, and I think it was great. As for the special features, all three films have a lot of special features, which I only have the DVDs, so those had very few special features. This has quite a bit more. The first film has 2 audio commentaries, and then Time Flies When You're Having Fun, and then the original Bill and Ted in Conversation with Chris and Ed. The hysterical personages, I hope I said that right, of Bill and Ted, and then theatrical trailer, which is, you know, a little bit more than what the DVD offered. And then the second film has Bill and Ted Go to Hell, the most triumphant making of, score, an interview with guitarist Steve Vai, I hope I said that right, and then air guitar tutorial with 2 people, which I thought was really funny, and then the linguistic stylings of Bill and Ted. I know I mispronounced that. That was really bad. And then the third film has the official Bill and Ted Face the Music panel at Comic-Con at home, and then Be Excellent to Each Other behind the scenes with cast and crew, a most triumphant duo, social piece, excellence, and then Death's Crib. So, if you're thinking of picking this up, the only thing I have to say about this release is I had to. I'm sorry. So I definitely do recommend picking this up. This cardboard, it's hard cardboard. It's not that flimsy cardboard that a lot of studios tend to use. This is real sturdy. I love that. I know that this is a bit off topic, but for the last year and a half, I've been saying 69 dudes because of the first film, and I'm really thinking about getting a tattoo of Bill and Ted and then 69 dudes, which Probably going to regret that, but if I do get it, whenever I'm dead and the coroner sees that, I hope they're laughing their ass off. But either way, I know that was really weird, but I'm going to get that tattoo. I will. I'm really like thinking about it. But either way, definitely recommend picking up Bill and Ted's Most Triumphant Trilogy on 4K UHD Blu-ray. And make sure to go to Shout Factory's website and get this, because this is the cheaper option. It's the same releases, except it comes with this cardboard box, and it's $15 cheaper. So definitely get it. You know, if you don't have $90 right now, pick up, you know, one of the films for $35, and then, you know, over time, get the other ones as well. Even though not everyone is a fan of these films, I am. So with that being said, I just want to say thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.